Okay, so how is the energy system changing? So over the next few slides, I'm going to show you how things have changed in quite a short period of time in terms of our how we're producing electricity. And it will help to explain why some of these system changes are happening. So electricity generation in 1998. So you can see here that coal-fired generation is over a third, and fossil fuels in total, so coal, oil and gas, are around 2/3 of the total. But now, if we fast forward 10 years, coal has shrunk slightly, gas generation has actually grown, so it's now at 45%. And in total, fossil fuels are still dominant, so they're about 78% of the energy mix in 2008. Now, here in 2020, there's been a real shift. So it's starting to look very different now. Coal has dramatically decreased, so it's now only 4%. Gas is shrinking, so it's going down from about 45, it's now about 30. And oil is now actually a really tiny proportion. It doesn't even show up there on the chart as a very large band at all. Growth of energy produced from renewable resources, on the other hand, has absolutely boomed. So we've got much more production now from wind and solar, and that now accounts for at least a third of the overall mix. So our energy system is also becoming more decentralised, and with that comes an element of democratisation as well. So previously we had in the UK about 80 power stations, but now actually we've got well over 900,000 generators. So these generators are also unique because they're not tied into that kind of previous dominant fossil fuel model. So these are generally renewably powered generators. So we've shifted from simply being passive consumers of energy to actually producing it too. So you might hear a term called prosumer, and essentially that's what it means. It's kind of a blend of being a consumer and a producer. So this decentralization of power also means it's becoming a little bit more democratized too. So we've got individuals and communities who are increasingly setting up and co-owning energy assets, and new business models are emerging that seek to scale that up. So there is a lot of opportunity here at kind of a neighbourhood scale to be involved in this energy transition. All of this means as well that actually the geography of energy is changing. So 10 years ago, it was still pretty unusual to spot solar panels on a roof. Now you'll see them on most streets. If you walk through a neighbourhood, you would struggle to find a street that doesn't have a house with solar panels on it. So this chart shows the year-on-year capacity of small-scale solar PV systems. So this is the type of system you might have on your own house or see on your street. So we've gone in 2010 from having about 35,000 kilowatts of installed capacity, and less than 10 years later, that's now 2.3 million kilowatts of installed capacity. So this shows that not only is much more energy being produced from renewables at a large scale, so if we think about that energy mix pie chart, obviously a big part of that is also things like offshore wind farms or onshore wind farms, but we've also got these whole raft of small generators which all add up to be quite a big chunk of the pie. Now all of this means that our relationship with the energy system is changing. So when we generate electricity at a small scale, either on our homes or at a community scale, for example on a school or with a community building, we use some of it, but our usage doesn't always align with what is produced. So an example might be here on a house. If you were out during the day, maybe the kids were at school and you were at the office, that's actually the peak time for your solar panels producing power. So if you're not using it, who is? It doesn't just kind of go to waste. So some of that is then going back into the grid. So now what we've actually got is a two-way flow of electricity. So not only are we pulling power from the grid, but we're also feeding it back in. That two-way flow of electricity poses some challenges for our infrastructure. So our network, all those kind of cables, the substations, the transmission, the distribution, it's actually quite old, and was, arguably designed for a different kind of period when we did have this more linear relationship with energy. So what that means is that we're going to need probably more capacity, flexibility, and it means investment in the actual nuts and bolts of the energy infrastructure. What we'll also probably need is more digital solutions to be able to monitor that and manage this more flexible use of energy. So obviously this is going to bring some challenges, but also I think lots of opportunities. So one of the key challenges is going to be phasing out fossil fuels. So an example here might be in our homes. So a lot of us have gas-powered central heating. We're going to need to reduce the gas significantly and phase that out ultimately. And we're gonna have to power our homes using electricity instead, power and heat them. Now, electricity is actually a relatively expensive fuel at the moment. So if you've got a leaky home that requires a lot of energy to get it to a comfortable and healthy temperature, or you're on a low income, this could actually be quite costly to run. However, decarbonisation will bring opportunities as well. So if you think, for example, about all the people that are able to install gas boilers, there's opportunities to rescale and develop new business models that are based on kind of more renewable-based heating systems as well. All of those are kind of training and job opportunities that could benefit us at a really kind of local neighbourhood scale. All of this means that actually between now and 2050, our demand for electricity is likely to at least double. So some of this will come from our homes, as we've just discussed, but also there's going to be big increases in demand from non-residential buildings, manufacturing, construction and transport. There will be costs to this transition. So capital costs, obviously we're going to have to change physical systems, but also there'll probably be costs to end users in bills from doing this. Now, with electricity being a more expensive fuel than gas at present, it's crucial we consider how that transition is going to be affordable, especially for those who find heating and powering their home expensive and who may already be underheating it as a result. So obviously we don't want to exacerbate that and make it worse.